Not very often you get to talk to a screen legend like Julie Andrews, star of stage, screen, and books. She's out with her 6th book in the Very Fairy Princess series. It's called Graduation Girl. Julie Andrews, welcome to KTRS here in St. Louis.
Good morning, McGraw. How are you today?
We are great. You and your daughter write these books?
Yeah, this is a series of children's books that we've been writing called The Very Fairy Princess. But in fact, we've been writing together now for about 27 years and have written about 29 books altogether. But this is a series that we began a little while ago, and we adore this little girl, this character, who firmly believes that she is a very fairy princess, despite all evidence to the contrary, and her socks are about her ankles, and her fingernails are grubby, and she goes about life in a very busy, joyful, joyous way. And she's a lovely character, and we adore writing about her, and this is the 6th in the series.
Well, you're doing something right, since it's a New York Times best-selling series, the Very Fairy Princess series, Graduation Girl. How hard is it to write a children's book?
Well, funnily enough, we were asked that question often, and we've been asked that question. It's harder to write books for young children than it is, say, to write for middle grade or young adult, because you have more pages, more time to explain, and you can be. But with children's books, you have to be absolutely clear and concise. You only have a certain amount of time. The pictures have to equally tell your story, so you can't waste your words, and they are harder to do.
When you and your daughter get into a creative difference, who wins?
The best idea wins, McGraw. It's actually, I know it sounds a little Pollyanna-ish to say so, but we have a huge mutual respect. Can you imagine what it's like for this mother to be sitting opposite her daughter as a beloved equal now, and with a fine brain, and who's a far better writer than I am, and it's a joy to write together. We have very different talents that we bring to the table. She's sort of the nuts and bolts, the first act, second act, third act, all the structure, and I'm more the sort of flights of fancy and the main idea and the opening setting for the story, the line at the end of the chapter that closes it, and so on. So between us, I think we have a good, we contribute different things.
Julie Andrews with us, talking about the 6th in the series of her New York Times best-selling book. She writes with her daughter, a Very Fairy Princess series, Graduation Girl. I have to ask you, Julie Andrews, any Hollywood movie offers from the Very Fairy Princess series?
Well, from your lips to someone's ears, but in fact, yes. There is talk about particularly a series, and I would love that to happen, because this little girl is a little girl who, it's not about the outer trappings of being a princess. It's not just the glamour and the sparkle and the jewels, and it's not rags to riches or anything like that, but she does love to dress up. It's more about the inner quality of this little girl, and what she firmly believes. It's about one's identity, and she has a very strong one and believes in giving. And if she says to all her friends, you can be anything you want to be, you just have to let your sparkle out. And in her case, hers is a very special one.
Would you play anything in the movie of The Very Fairy Princess?
I don't know. I might play Mom, but I don't know. This is a young series, and this is our 8th book. We've done 6 of the hardcover. This is the 6th in that series, but we've done a couple of others in the sort of I can read younger children's versions. But no, she's a lovely character, and we adore writing about her. She's become quite real to us.
Yeah.
In fact, she is based and was inspired by Emma's daughter, Hope, when she was a little girl.
All right, there you go. Julie Andrews out with her 6th book with her daughter, the Very Fairy Princess series, Graduation Girl. Julie Andrews, while we have you, last summer came out a movie with Tom Hanks calling Saving Mr. Banks, and it was
I saw it.
It was the backstory of Mary Poppins. Tell me your thoughts as you watched that movie.
Well, actually, it was the story of how P.L. Travers, the author who wrote Mary Poppins, was persuaded, I think over something like 20 years by Disney, to give him the rights to the movie. And so my story and connection with it in some ways followed after this movie ends. But
Right.
I did know Pamela Travers, and she's wonderfully played by Emma Thompson in the movie. And Tom Hanks really captured Disney's own sparkle. He had a kind of twinkly personality, which was kind and fun and very, very smart, of course.
Was she as much of a stickler with you as she was with Walt Disney in the portrayal?
Yes, very much so. In fact, at the beginning, we were all in awe of her, but I did correspond with her and try to sort of smooth her ruffled feathers a little bit. But Emma captured her completely.
Yeah, and it was more or less, I mean, you really felt for her, and you could really understand why these characters were so important to her.
You know, now that I, too, am an author and have characters that I love, I get it. I mean, you really want to see them as you feel and see them in your heart and in your writing, you know?
Yeah, well, and how many times have we read a book that we've loved, and we then see it on the big screen, and it's just been butchered and been ruined, and
or changed in some fashion? Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't let the author, write the script, which I've never understood.
Well, in Pamela Travers' case, she was very, very rigid, and I think she was terrified at giving up her baby, so to speak.
Yeah. And one quick question with Julie Andrews on The Sound of Music. I grew up with a room full of sisters, a house full of sisters, and I was made to watch The Sound of Music 17 different times.
Oh my God!
And it's a fine movie, and I never really got it until this summer. We visited Austria and went to Salzburg, and at that point I was like, "Oh, I get it."
Well, it took that long. Oh, McGraw. But it's a glorious place, isn't it?
It's spectacular. And the way they explain The Sound of Music and the places you guys went or sort of copied, it was wonderful.
Oh, my God. Did it rain?
It did not rain. It was beautiful weather.
Oh, well, you're lucky. Normally, Salzburg, I think, has Europe's seventh highest annual rainfall, and we certainly experienced it while we were making the movie.
It was stunning, and you have given us hours and hours of great entertainment. Julie Andrews has been our guest. The book is The Very Fairy Princess at bookstores everywhere, Amazon.com as well. Graduation Girl. Julie Andrews, thank you very much.
Thank you, McGraw. Have a lovely day.
You got it. Julie Andrews here on the Big 550 KTRS.